Might be putting in new windows. She talked about a bathroom that was redone for a client who had no flushing toilet inside her house last summer. All kinds of painting, of course. They've done roofing. You can imagine the job is endless, or the list is endless. And there's just things that need done in the distribution center itself. Because of the outreach they have that's ongoing there, and people know they can come in for help and things, sometimes they've had donations brought in, and it just means people are there working in the distribution center for the day, organizing things, sorting things, getting clothes stacked up in the right sizes so that if people come in, they know where to look for what their kids might need, etc. Now, I mentioned that one of the things they do is disaster relief. Many of you might remember, well, this past year, we had a record-setting year of rain. And in the spring and all through the summer, there were a lot of floods in different areas of Ohio. And then last spring was also quite a tornado season. Since they do disaster relief, one of the things she asked me about, and I spoke with a pastor and several other people about this, she said, if there's a disaster somewhere, would your team that's coming down be willing to be diverted to a disaster site that week instead of what we may have thought we already had you lined up to do? And we said yes, that we would be willing to do that. So should there be flooding, should a house burn down for a family, like I said, tornadoes, who knows what could happen. If there's a need for that is immediate, we can forget all that stuff about our painting and lumber woodworking skills, because we may get diverted to something that needs dealt with immediately, which could mean debris cleanup, clearing out a house that's flooded and in mud, 2 feet deep or something like that. So, yes, we have a plan, but we're going to be willing to be flexible should something come up. Now, before we go, I got really excited about this when she asked me. She said, every time we go in and work with a family, she said, we want to give them Bibles. She said, it's not just about getting them physically back on their feet or a bathroom functioning for them or something like that. She said, we also want to make a spiritual connection. She's, we are Lutheran Social Services. So what she asked was, would we be willing to collect Bibles? They can be new or used, and we'll put something together and keep you informed on this. And then bring Bibles with us that can be there for distribution as they need them. And then also, because they do so much work in people's homes, they will bring a trailer up here for us. And sometime right before we go, probably the month of May, the very first week of June, we will have an opportunity for you to donate gently used, clean household items. Chairs, a couple lamps that you don't use. Your girlfriend is redecorating her family room and doesn't know what to do with some of the furnishing she's not going to reuse. And we will haul those things up and take them back down. Lots of opportunity for everybody to get involved, even if you're not actually going to Caldwell with us. I'm going to be available at 9:45 today. If anybody has questions and would like to talk to me, or give me your name tentatively if you think you are going to consider this. Also, Kate put together a really great poster board that we've got out in the narthex, and I put an information sheet that goes into a little bit more detail than what I've got on the PowerPoint, so feel free to take one of those. And then we're actually going to have our first official group meeting on the 5th of February at 9:45. Again, I've got that posted out there on the poster board itself, and I've already sent Terry a note, and she'll have it in the newsletter. We'll probably get it in the bulletin. We'll keep reminding you. I wanted to finish with the same thought that we started with. Yes, I've talked about Caldwell and June 17th this summer, but the big picture is to get a mission team in place and have this be an ongoing opportunity for service for Advent.
Thank you, Sherry. I have a question I wanted to ask her.
Okay.
I know in the past you've been on other mission trips, and a few years ago went to Rosedale, West Virginia, when we did the work down there. How has that, being involved in that mission work, how has that changed you?
When we went to Caldwell, Our work was to put together a youth center for kids who were at high risk for drug use. There were grandparents in their lives who were selling drugs, poor attendance at school, etc. So we were very focused on these kids, all the things that were failing them in their lives. So we worked on this youth center, and I think there were about 14 or 16 of us that were down there for 5 or 6 days, and I see some of you here. We went to work, had a wonderful week, jumped in with both feet, and when we got home, Doug and I were sitting at dinner one night and talking about some of the things that had happened, and all of a sudden I looked up at him and I said, do you realize that for those 5 or 6 days we were down there, we never once thought about what I needed or what he needed, what I want or what he wants. You know, here we were a week later at home, and it hit us over the heads how this group had become one in terms of our focus and our thoughts and our goals. And to step outside yourself like that was just, it was absolutely transforming. And there was a part of it that you didn't want to come back into the real world because it's so easy to get caught back up in, well, now I'm going to take care of me again.
Okay, well, good. Why is this trip important to you?
I'm motivated by the marks of discipleship that are hanging between our windows and the one over there that says service. I just feel like God is calling this congregation to keep going with this. Also, last spring, this past Lenten season, when we did the gentleman who worked with World Mission.
The Hole in the Gospel?
Thank you, the Hole in the Gospel, yes. And I found that to be very motivating. And his abilities to serve were worldwide. But we can start right here. You know what? Can I share a Bible verse? I stumbled onto this week. Matthew chapter 20, verse 28. Jesus was called not to be served, but to serve.
Yeah.
Discipleship.
Yeah. Sherry, thank you. Thanks for coming up and sharing this morning.